Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of IR spectroscopy. This is Sarita from GDCW Begumpet. So in our last class we have seen the vibrational frequencies of various functional groups. So till now we have covered the functional groups of OH stretching, NH, CH, C triple bond N, C triple bond C. So in the next class, in this class we are continuing with the other functional groups. So the next functional group is about the carbonyl stretching vibrations, that is C double bond O stretching. Now this is very important because C double bond O group is seen in aldehydes, ketones, acid halides, carboxylic acids, acid anhydrides, esters and amides. So all these functional groups contain C double bond O. So how to distinguish all these functional groups based on C double bond O vibrational band that we are going to see now. So this is typical IR absorption region, as we have seen in the last class also, the same thing. So we have covered this part, OH, CH, NH, and this also. Now we are dealing with C double bond O. So here the region is from 1800 to 1650. So we have to look the bands at this region, that is from 1800 to 1650 centimeter inverse per C double bond O group. So the cardinal stretching frequencies or stretching region is from 1800 to 1650, and the base value, what you have to remember, this is at 1715, which is for ketone, and the bands are very strong. Okay, this is due to C double bond O dipole moment. The dipole moment of C double bond O is more, and therefore the bands are also strong. So the example, first example, let us discuss about 2-butanone. So 2-butanone is a ketone. Okay, it is having C double bond O, and here all are these two carbons, and this carbon is sp3 hybridized. So as I said, first we have to start looking for the absorption bands right from the 3000 mark. Okay, so at 3000, that is just below again 3000, at 2982 there's a band, so that is nothing but because of sp3ch. Then we have to look for the another intense band at 1715. Okay, it is very strong band, so that strong band gives information about C double bond O group, that is carbonyl group is present, and the other medium bands are because of CH bending vibrations. Now this is for ketone. Suppose if we take an example of all the different functional groups which are having C double bond O's. So this is acid chloride, esters, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acids, amides. And how the vibrational frequency change, that already we have covered in our previous sessions. That is because of all the effects, that is inductive effect, mesomeric effect. So because of these effects, the vibrational frequency will change. So Cl, that is acid halide, will have high vibrational frequencies for carbonyl group. Why? Because of the chlorine which is acting as minus I group. That is, it is showing minus inductive effect. So when it is pulling the electrons towards itself, what happens to the C double bond O? The bond length will decrease. So the bond becomes short. So when the bond length decreases, the force constant increases. So force constant is directly proportional to the vibrational frequency. So when force constant increases, vibrational frequency also increases. So that is the reason acid chloride will have higher vibrational frequencies for C double bond O group. Okay. Then comes for esters. Then it's slowly again aldehydes, ketones. Ketones, because of alkyl groups, they are what? They are electron donating groups. So they are showing which effect? Plus I effect. Okay, plus inductive effect. Carboxylic acid. So here also again we come across OH, that is inductive, as well as the mesomeric effect, and NH2 C double bond O. Again here also we find mesomeric and inductive effect. So because of the conjugation which is present here in amide, it will show very less absorptional bands, very less band, that is 1690, that is very less absorption frequencies for C double bond O. So remember for ketone it is 1715. So carboxylic acids and amides will have less absorption bands than ketone, whereas aldehydes, esters, acid halides will have higher. Then we can also identify the ester, anhydride. So this is an anhydride functional group. Okay, for this we should observe two peaks. Why two peaks? Because the lone pair electrons on oxygen either they can delocalize onto this carbonyl group or towards the other carbonyl group. So that is the reason you can easily identify whether it is an anhydride or not, because strong bands appear between the range 1890 and 1760. So therefore we can say that it is an anhydride. So now we'll see example for each and individual functional group. So first, the same thing again, 2-butanone, we have covered this example. Then we'll move to the another one, aldehyde functional group. So aldehydes will have higher C double bond O frequencies. So you can see this is nonal, 9 carbons with an aldehyde functional groups. So how to identify whether it is an aldehyde or ketone? So again, from the 3000 mark, start looking for the bands. So just below 3000, so it is what? sp3, CH stretching vibrations, and C double bond O band at 1730. Okay, very intense band. Then whether it is for ketone or aldehyde, that is one point you have to remember is aldehydes will show Fermi resonance bands. So here you can see 27, 17, 28, 59. These are weak bands. Okay, they are because of C double bond O H stretching vibration. Okay, nothing but Fermi resonance. So this point you have to remember. The difference between aldehydes and ketones is for ketones you will not find this bands. Okay, this is found only for aldehydes. Suppose if you are not able to say by looking at the bands at 1700 whether it is aldehyde or ketone, you have to look for these bands. Okay, so when you have 2800, 2700, two bands appearing, that is nothing but because of C double bond OH stretching vibrations, which is due to an aldehyde functional group. And this is again 1400, it is a CH bending. Understood? So aldehyde will have Fermi resonance bands also along with C double bond O group. Then acid halide we are taking. So here CH3, CH2s are missing. Just now this is acid halide. You just look at this C double bond O Cl. Okay. What are the bands that we have to find in IR for this functional group? So again C double bond O highest, because acid halides appear at higher frequencies. C double bond O band at higher frequency. So 1800, very intense, strong bands. Okay. So this is again 3000 mark is sp3ch. The other ones are bending vibrations. And we will also observe this one, CCl bands below 900. So this might be 953, around 953. This is because of CCl stretching vibrations. Then this is the ester functional group, ethyl butanoate. So now how to identify whether it is ester or not? This one more band you have to observe for ester apart from C double bond O. So what it is having C double bond O as well as C single bond O, CO group. Okay, so these two bands we have to look for esters. So C double bond O very strong again 1741 as well as C single bond O, which is at 1100 or 1200, 1100 to 1200. Okay, so if this band is not appearing, then we cannot say that it is an ester function. Okay, even though it is having carbonyl group, we have to observe CO group also. Then only we can say that it is might be a ester. Then 2-methyl propanoic acid. Now we are taking carboxylic acid. Again, it is having the carbonyl group along with OH. Now how to identify whether it is an carboxylic acid or not? Very simple again. So first again, see here we have OH. Already in our first example, we have seen that OH stretching vibrations for carboxylic acid, a broad band is observed. You remember? So a broad band is observed because of carboxylic group, which is having OH functional group because of hydrogen bondings. And then we should also observe C double bond O group, which is at 1709. That is less than ketone. Okay. Then we should also observe CE single bond O, this one also, around 1200. Understood? So three bands you have to keep in mind for carboxylic acid. One is the OH band, characteristic OH functional group stretching vibration, C double bond O stretching vibrations, and C single bond O stretching vibrations. If these three are observed, then we can say that the compound might contain carboxylic functional group. So why broadband is observed? This is again the hydrogen bondings. The next example is amide. Here we are taking propanamide. Now propanamide can also be, we have distinguishing features for this. So apart from C double bond O, okay, 1632, it is very less when compared to all other C double bond O functional groups. Then NH2 is also there. So this also we have covered in our last class. NH stretching vibrations. Whenever it is primary amine NH2 group, what we have to do, we have to observe two bands. Remember, two bands in the region 3200 and 3300. So these are the two bands. So that gives information about primary amine, that is NH2 group is present in the compound. So apart from C double bond O, if this is also there, then we can confirm that it is an amide functional group. Understood? Suppose if there is no C double bond O, suppose if this band is absent, if we are having only NH2, that is nothing but it is an amine, primary amine. When it is having both C double bond O and NH2, then we can say that it is an amide, primary amide. So now we'll go to the next stretching vibrations, that is C double bond C. So C double bond C, we can find it alkenes in and as well as aromatic groups. So the region is from 1550 to 1650. So example of hexene we'll take. So double bond CH, again this also we have covered in our last class actually. So what, first again look for the band which is just below as well as above. Okay, so just above will be sp2ch stretching vibrations. Okay, just above is sp2 alkenyl carbon it is, whereas just below 3000 is alkyl carbon, that is sp3 carbon ch stretching vibrations. And if, because it is having C double bond C, we should also observe this one. Around 1600 there should be a band. Then all the others are bending. This is OPS, means out of plane bending vibrations. Now toluene also the same thing. So 1330, 2925, it says that this is sp2 carbon, this is sp carbon, and whether it is aromatic or not, what is the main feature? We have, what are the bands we have to consider for this? We have to look for 1606, that is C double bond C, as well as below 900. Okay, remember, below 900 also you have to look for the bands when it is a benzene ring is there. Then C single bond O. So C single bond O stretching vibrations, the range is 1300 to 1000 or 30,000 to 1200 it will be actually. So in that range, C single bond O. So C single bond O we have seen for carboxylic acid also. Okay. And even now we are taking ether as an example now, dibutyl ether. Okay, this is dibutyl ether. So what are the characteristic bands we have to observe for this is, the main important thing is C single bond O band. So C single bond O, very intense bands, 1127. So all the functional group bands will be intense only. Okay. So if it is a very intense band, that means it might be due to some functional group there. And here again, below 3000, it is because of sp3 CH stretching vibrations, and all these are what? Bending vibrations. Anisole again. So this, the difference between the previous example and this is, here we are having, again we have taken aromatic ring. Okay, so aromatic means just above 3000. You can see this aromatic sp2ch. Just below is because we have methyl group also, so we are able to observe these bands. Then at 1500, 1600 also we observe bands. Then below 9900 also. So 900 or oops, that is out of plane bending vibrations, which confirms that benzene ring is present and it is substituted. So cyclohexanol, OH group again, and C single bond O. Okay, OH group again, it is a hydrogen bonding is there. So 3300 we observe, and it is a broad band. If there is no hydrogen bonding, we will observe this sharp band at 3600. So here, as we are observing a broad band, we can say that there is a hydrogen bonding present in this. Then all are sp3 carbons. So this is again sp3ch. Then we should also observe which one? This one, carbon oxygen. So C single bond O, which we can see here at 1070. Then 2-methyl propanoic acid, again we have taken an acid because we are having C single bond O, again the same example, broad band for OH, C double bond O band, then C single bond O band. Ethyl butanoate, so here also we come across C single bond O is also present, so we are taking the example again. So for this C double bond O as well as C single bond O group. Then NO stretchings. Now NO stretching vibrations are observed at 1550. So this NO stretchings at 1550 and 1350 centimeter inverse. So because of again asymmetric and symmetric vibrations. And 1550 centimeter inverse peak is stronger than all the other bands. So first we'll take an example of 2-nitropropane, which is a nitroalkane. Okay, so this is the nitro group which is attached to the carbon. So nitro group means we have to observe N double bond O. So around 1557 we find the band. And if we are having gem diethyl, so these are the doublets. These are due to gem diethyl groups. Then CCl. Now we have come to the last. We have moved from 4000. All this we have covered. Now the last is CCl. That is the carbon attached to halogen now. Now in this we have the region is from 785 to 540, or just remember below 800. Okay, from below 800 it starts for carbon attached halogens. So CCl often hard to find amongst the fingerprint bands, whereas CBr, CI, they appear outside the useful range of IR. And CF bands can be found easily but are not that common. So we'll take an example of carbon tetrachloride, CCl4. So there are no, see here in the functional group region, you are not able to see any bands. So no bands means there is no sp3 carbon or sp2 carbon, nothing. One sp3 carbon is there, but there are no hydrogens which are attached to that carbon. So that particular carbon is attached to only Cl, so we come across only this band, which is due to CCl absorption bands. Then chlorobenzene. Now in this you can see, this is aromatic ring. Okay, so aromatic ring means just above 3000, that is here you can see a small weak band because of sp2 CH stretching vibrations. Then C double bond C groups, C double bond C stretching vibrations or skeletal vibrations. Then what we have to observe still below 900. Below 900 also, all these are strong to medium bands, which gives information that the benzene is substituted. Okay, Then we also have CCl band, which is at 742. Then CH out of plane bending. Now we have come to this OOPS out of plane bending vibrations. So here you can see that alkene and aromatic rings. So hydrogen, that is the vibration can take place out of plane. So either the hydrogen can move up, that is above the plane, or below the plane. So in this out of plane bending vibrations, because of this, we find different bands, and the two at different vibrational frequencies. So this you have to remember now. So monosubstituted alkene. Monosubstituted alkene, CH band. Okay. Then disubstituted, it may have trans 1,2 disubstituted, 1,1 disubstituted. So you can see how many bands are there. For monosubstituted, 2 sharp bands. For cis 1,2, there is sharp band. Then trans, it is greater than 900. So cis and trans, we can distinguish these two isomers by IR. How? Because cis will appear at, you can see there's only one band, sharp band. And what is the range? It is 700. At 700, that is from, you can take it as 800 to 750 like that. There's a band appearing, which is for cis. And if it is trans, so here you can see from 900 to 1000. In the region of 900 to 1000 it appears. Then 1,1 disubstitution, a sharp band again between 800 to 900. Trisubstituted, so 3 alkyl groups, a medium band near 800. Then tetrasubstituted, there won't be any CH group, so there is no band in around this region, that is 1000 to 700. So this you have to remember. So in this mainly you can remember cis and trans. For trans, the vibrational frequency is observed at higher vibrational frequencies. Cis is observed at a little bit lower vibrational frequencies. Then if we are taking benzene as an example, monosubstituted and disubstituted. So monosubstituted benzene, 2 bands, disubstituted benzene, 1 band, ortho, meta, para. So this is ortho, disubstituted ortho. Then we have meta, this is, you can see below 800, 2 bands, and 1 band above 800. Then para, around 800 to 900, 1 band. So in this way, you have to just learn this. If you just that is solve the various spectra 3 to 4 times, you can easily memorize all this. So for monosubstituted, 2 bands. Then for ortho disubstituted, you should find only 1 band. Meta, you will find 3 bands. Para, 1 band. So that is how we have to interpret the IR spectrum. So based on all the functional groups, starting from 4000 to 1500, first we have to check. So 4000 to 1500, all the bands that fall in that region will give information about the functional groups which are present in that. Whereas below 1500 to 400 or 600, it will be fingerprint region. So the other use of IR spectrum is quantitative analysis. We can find out the amount of the analyte which is present also. So this can be done by measuring the intensity of the absorption bands. And this is done by baseline technique. So here, this is nothing but Beer-Lambert's law. So you know this, absorbance and transmittance. So when the IR radiations hit the sample, so some of the radiations will get absorbed and some radiations will get transmitted out. Now absorbance is inversely proportional to the transmittance. So by knowing the intensities of the radiations, that is incident light as well as the transmitter light, we can know the concentration of the compound. And this Beer-Lambert's law, it is nothing but A is equal to epsilon BL or CL you can take. Epsilon is the absorptivity, A is what? Absorbance or the optical density. So absorbance is equal to, actually it is log I naught by I. This is the formula for finding out the absorbance, or that is nothing but equal to epsilon CL. Epsilon means absorptivity. C stands for the concentration of the solution, and L is the path length, or that is equal to, it is inverse of log T, that is transmittance. So by substituting all the values in this particular formula, you can find the concentration of the solution. Now we can also identify the impurities in a drug sample. So how we can identify is not only in drug samples, in any chemical industries or organic samples also we can identify the impurities, because by just running the spectra, we'll get the IR spectra, and we have to compare that with that of a pure drug. So impurities have different chemical nature when compared to the pure drug. Hence these impurities give rise to additional peaks than that of the pure drug. By comparing this, we can identify the presence of impurities. So both the spectra we have to take it. We have to take the spectra of both the pure drug as well as the impure drug. Then we have to compare both. So in impure drug, we will have extra bands, so that indicates that it is having some impurity in it. So these are the applications. Now let us see what are the limitations of IR spectroscopy. So limitations here, the main limitation is it is not possible to know the molecular weight of a substance. So we cannot find out the molecular weight of the substance. Then it does not provide information of the relative positions of different functional groups on a molecule. So exact position of the functional, that is exact position of the side chain, cannot be interpreted by just using only IR. Because to find out the exact structure of any unknown compound, what we need is we need all the spectra. That is, we have to study its IR spectra, UV spectra, mass spectra, as well as NMR spectra. Then by studying all the spectra, then only we can confirm the exact structure of the molecule. So from a single IR spectra of an unknown substance, it is not possible to know whether it is a pure compound or a mixture of the compound. So these are the limitations of IR spectroscopy. So we have covered all the main important points in this topic. So we have started with the principle of IR. So just we'll recall all those important points here. Now, what is IR spectroscopy? It is the study of interaction of the IR radiations with that of the matter. Okay, so IR radiations are when they interact with the sample. So how the sample absorbs, or how what is the intensity of the transmitted light, that is being plotted as an IR spectrum. So what happens when the incident light, when the IR region is that is incident on the sample, transitions takes place. So transitions takes place between which energy levels? So it takes place in the vibrational energy levels. Those vibrational energy levels consist of rotational energy levels also. So that is why IR spectra is known as vibrational and rotational spectroscopy. Then we have seen what are the, that is when the light is incident on the sample, transitions is taking place and vibrations. So vibrations are of two different types, stretching and bending vibrations. So stretching vibrations will change the bond length of the bond length is changed in stretching vibrations, whereas bond angle will be changing in bending vibrations. And we have seen the number of modes of vibrations for linear and non-linear molecules, 3n minus 5 and 3n minus 6, where n is the number of atoms attached, number of atoms in the molecule. And then the Hooke's law, that is nu bar is equal to 1/2 by under root k by mu. So nu bar, that is vibrational frequency, is directly proportional to the force constant, and it is inversely proportional to the mass. So as the mass increases, the vibrational frequency will decrease. So that you have to keep in mind, because many questions can be asked based on these force constant, mass, as well as how the vibrational frequency change when there is an hydrogen bonding. So when hydrogen bondings are present, the vibrational frequencies will decrease. And then the other factor, that is the inductive effect, mesomeric effect, why amides are showing lesser vibrational frequencies for carbonyl group, because there the lone pair electrons on the nitrogen are participating in the conjugation. So all these points you have to remember. And for interpreting the IR spectra also, these points are very, very important. And then we have seen the characteristic absorption bands for various functional groups. Alcohol, OH first from 4000 to 1500, it is a functional group region. And then from 1500 to 400, it is a fingerprint region. So when there is a minute change in the structure of two, that is when the two compounds are similar and there is only a small changes which are there in that sample, then that can be detected in the fingerprint region. And then we have seen this instrumentation also. Instrumentation, what are the different samples that we can take for the study of IR. So we can take the samples, whether it may be solids, liquids, or gases also, and how we can load the sample in the spectrometer. And then we have seen the FTIR, how it is converting the time domain spectrum to the frequency domain spectrum, and all the vibrational frequencies of all the functional groups starting from alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, alcohols, carboxylic acids, and their derivatives. So all the main important points we have covered, how we can distinguish whether the benzene is monosubstituted, disubstituted. So all this. So the main important points, if you remember, and just practice as many spectra as you can. So take an unknown spectra and then try to solve. First look for the bands at 3000 mark, then just try to interpret each and every band. And the main thing is you have to consider the intense bands. So try to interpret all the intense bands first. So if you just keep on practicing, you can become perfect in the interpretation of the IR spectra. And this is the last part of this. So limitations of IR. Then hope you have all understood the topic IR spectroscopy. Just okay, thank you for watching and stay safe. Thank you.